Good afternoon. Welcome to the Detroit Police Commission meeting. Today's Thursday, September 25th. We don't have a quorum as of yet. We just need one more commissioner. So we're going to get started. If we could please have Chaplain Dr. Casey Snaps, who's on Zoom, is going to give the invocation.
Thank you so much. Let us pray. God, we thank you for allowing us to gather today. We ask that you would bless this assemblage. Lord God, we ask that you would continue to allow us to do the work for the great citizens of Detroit. We thank you for all of the commissioners that are present. We thank you for all who are laboring. We ask for a fruitful meeting. We ask that all of this is done to edify your kingdom. Asking this in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Next, we're going to go to the public comment section, oral communications, and please remember the 2-minute limit for your comments, and inappropriate language and comments may delay TV broadcasts and video posts. May we have the first speaker, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. The staff will be pulling up the clock so we can be ready. So, Ms. Williams, you are first, and then after you, Minister Eric Blunt. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to have a public comment? Ms. Williams?
First speaker, please.
I like to see the time. Hello, everyone. Through the chair, it was very unfortunate the incident that occurred on Delaware Sunday. Regardless of him being on the Detroit Police Department illegally, he was still somebody's child, and he lost his life. And that is very sad. He was somebody's son, somebody's father, somebody's mother. I mean, cousin, whatever the case is, it happened, and it shouldn't have happened. And I've been complaining about officers on the Detroit Police Department, ex-offenders, for a while. And you all act like none of this was going on. And I don't know how you going to cover this up, because I can't see his parents and his people putting a fake name on his obituary. That's not possible. I can't even imagine nothing like that. And I went to Internal Affairs the other day, and the same Internal Affair guy, I told him I seen him at 3426 Mack Avenue when I was at that shelter. He came there to get the weapons from the officers. He had on a sanitation uniform, and he gonna say, no, that wasn't me, that was my twin brother Terrence. No, absolutely not. I know exactly who you were, and you were dealing with Chase. And this is what I'm saying, the the corruption of abuse of authority on the Detroit Police Department, and it's not acceptable, period. And the citizens of Detroit, they need somebody that's going to do their job correctly and comply to the laws and the Constitution, and act like whoever's in control and have these positions, if you can't do your job, you don't need these jobs, period. It's not acceptable, because you all set up here. I said this last week. If it wasn't serious to you, if it was serious, you would have had a resolution on it. So how you gonna cover up the fact that an officer got shot? He had to sign off on that weapon to receive his weapon from the Detroit Police Department.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm Minister Eric Blunt from Sacred Heart Catholic Church right here in Detroit. Some of you may have missed me for the last 2 weeks. I was not on vacation. I just thought there's so many resolutions for things that have nothing to do with police officer misconduct. So I thought I'd let you get it out of your system if you wanted to have a resolution or a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Wouldn't surprise anybody here. But I, for one, would have lost my mind had you done that, so it's better I not be in jail or in handcuffs. DC Franklin Hayes, I want to thank you for your tour of the Detroit Detention Center 3 weeks ago. Still, there's some serious concerns about what could happen to officers and prisoners, but I thank you for the opportunity to field my questions, my concerns as we went through the whole facility. OCI has a presentation today. So often and so many times, OCI just tells you about cases and how quickly they solve them. But God rest her soul, my sister had a Ford that she hated, and she called it a fix or repair daily because she thought Ford Motor Company was just about production and not about quality. And I challenge you to make OCI the same way. It's not about production, it's about quality. And one of the things you can do to ensure quality is to ask the citizens whether or not they were satisfied with the findings of OCI. Anything less than that is just a one-sided, possibly, probably false narrative. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Through the chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I want to make it clear that any citizen that may testing. Yeah, it's on. Okay. We want to make it clear that any decision that's made as it relates to a citizen complaint can be appealed. And so so there's a lot of checks and balances there. So if anybody have any problems with any decision that was made through an OCI, that they can appeal at any time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Any other comment before the next speaker comes up?
Good afternoon to my
Good afternoon.
commissioners. I wasn't going to say anything today, but I said, no, I got to say something because my favorite deputy is here, Chief, and I
He's
got to let him
Assistant
know
Chief,
what
huh?
happened to his mother, Bernice. Last Friday, now I'm senior, as most of you know, and most seniors, they go to bed around about 10 and after looking at the news. So Friday, I'm in the bed sleeping good. Next thing I know, I heard all this blah, 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 blah. And I looked out my window, pulled the shades up there and looked out the window, and this young man pulled up right in front of my window. And about as far as from your table, that's how far it was. And I looked through the blinds, and he was just shaking his hand, going to the music and everything, and the young lady was in the car with him. And I just sat there, I stood there and I looked out, and then I knocked on my window. Of course, he didn't hear me. So I come and I opened the door. I'm on the first floor there, right there on Russell and Mack. As most of you know, the complex there is across from Pepsi-Cola. So I opened my door in my pajamas, and I hollered out, "Will you please stop all that?" And I did say damn noise. And then, of course, they didn't hear me. And I just saw all the hands going up and everything. So I closed the door and I came in and I sat there on my bed and I said, Lord, how long will I have to listen to this? It was 2:55. I looked at my clock. 2:55 Friday morning or Saturday morning. And then finally, I called my police. I'm in the 10th precinct, I believe. That's where I am, over there by Mac. And then the police took the report and everything. In other words, let me make it short. I called 4 times. The 4th time she said, "You want the supervisor?" And I did get a little mad. I said, "No, no. I don't want the supervisor." And I said, why do I have to go through this? And when I finally was able to got through, it was 7 after 4 in the morning. Now, I don't think that we should go through things. I know they're busy on the weekends with crime and everything. I realize that. But, I mean, come on, we're a part of this city also. And I think that we should have some consideration,
Madam
especially,
Bernice,
I know I'm
Madam
through.
Bernice, your time
But
is-
that was very aggravating to me, guys. It really was. And I didn't want to call Bettison. I didn't want to call you. But I hope we will
Thank
say
you.
something to the officers in regards to
Thank
serious
you.
confrontation, all right?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum now, so I'm going to call the meeting to order, and could we please have the roll call, Madam Secretary?
Commissioner DeWalsh,
Present.
Commissioner Woods,
Present.
Commissioner Banks, excused, Commissioner Bell,
Present District
Commis-
4.
Commissioner Burton,
Present District 5.
Commissioner Carter is excused, Commissioner Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Smith,
Present.
6 present.
Thank you. At this time, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the agenda of September 25th, 2025?
So move. Support, Madam Chair.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wood, supported by Commissioner Jones. Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Could I also have a motion to approve the minutes of September 18th, 2025?
So move. Support, Madam Chair.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wood, supported by Commissioner Jones. Is there any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. There are also some minutes from closed session on September 18th. Is there a motion?
So move, Madam Chair.
It's been moved by Commissioner Jones,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Woods. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And now, Madam Secretary, could we have introductions?
Madam Chair, through the chair, registered at this time and present are BOPC staff, Corporation Counsel Conrad Mallett, Chief Investigator Jerome Warfield, Drew Freeze, Felicia Tyson, Janya Underwood, Teresa Blossom, Mary Barber, Candace Hayes, Tiffany Stewart of Office of Chief Investigator, DPD HR Director Katrina Pillow via Zoom, Assistant Chief Franklin Hayes for Chief of Police Office. The interpreters today are Ms. Yukata and Dr. Beatty, Court Reporter Don Handyside, Enrique Jackson for Audiovisual, and Jason Gant for Media Services. Elected officials or representatives that are registered at this time are Marie Overwall of State Representative Tyrone Carter's office, Frida Butler, 2nd Precinct Community Relations, President Nicole Fisher of the 4th Precinct Community Relations as Secretary, LaDon Davis of the Office of Council Member Fred Durhall III, and former Detroit Police Commissioner William Davis, I believe, is on Zoom. And those are the persons registered at this time.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Under the BOPC Officers Report, we have a resolution honoring Eric Ford, President of Detroit 300, posthumously. I would like to ask Commissioner Smith if she would read the resolution, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The resolution honoring Eric Ford. Whereas frustrated residents, business owners, and community advocates founded Detroit 300 in the mid-2000s to address a new era of neighborhood safety, social, and cultural challenges. Detroit 300 became a vigilant community powerhouse as its volunteers worked for the apprehension of dangerous crime suspects, protected homes against arson, and patrolled streets by the hundreds in distinctive orange vests. And whereas Eric Ford became a volunteer leader and president for Detroit 300, he had a deep commitment for the battle against violence. As a teenager, He lost his mother to a senseless murder, and that tragedy fueled his vision and passion to keep people safe and improve the city. And whereas Mr. Ford worked shoulder to shoulder with people from every walk of life, he tirelessly went door to door advocating on behalf of crime victims, seeking out witnesses, and providing support for victims, witnesses, and their families. Many called him Superman, and he played a leading role as Detroit 300 solved major crimes, helped the police with multiple arrests, and gave countless families justice and peace. And whereas the Board of Police Commissioners has known and worked with Mr. Ford throughout his decades of community activism and his leadership with Detroit 300. The close alliance was most visible when Detroit 300 spokesman and leader Martin Jones became a police commissioner in 2020 and a vice chair in 2021. The bond became even stronger recently as Mr. Ford led Detroit 300 to join the city's community violence intervention program, Shot Stoppers. It was a great fit for Mr. Ford, who always wanted people to live in harmony without fear of violence and crime. As whereas Detroit has lost a civic giant with the passing of Eric Superman Ford at 58 years old, the community will gather in celebration of his life at Fellowship Chapel during a public service from 1 to 8 p.m. on Friday, September 25th, 2025, and during the family hour at 9:30 a.m. and homegoing celebration at 11 a.m. on Saturday, September 26, 2025. Therefore, be resolved that the Board of Police Commissioners recognizes Mr. Eric Ford posthumously for his community activism, leadership of Detroit 300, and dedication to a safer city and better quality of life for all residents. The board joins in mourning the loss of this remarkable leader and offers sincere condolences to Eric Ford's family and the Detroit 300 organization.
May I get a motion to approve?
So move.
It's been moved by Commissioner Woods, seconded by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Did you want to mention that we're going to be giving the resolution?
Yes, we'll be presenting this resolution to his family after services, and we actually continue to pray for his family and the Detroit 300 family for the remarkable work that this brother has done. So thank you guys for your attention to this.
Thank you. Any other discussions?
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but being original member of the 300 under Angelo Henderson, Ford, and what's the name? She joined it when I was a member. So I don't want to take anything away from Ford. Ford didn't come on board until a couple of years or 2-3 years afterwards. But I'm gonna let it stand like it is. But I want the public to know it was Angelo Henderson, baby. He was news commentator, and I'm a member. She joined it also along with us, and it was long before that.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not taking
Thank
away
you.
from him.
Thank you for
He
your
later
comments.
became
Thank
a
you for
member.
your comments.
Several years.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I will speak
The motion
tomorrow, too.
carries. Thank you. Next, we have the Chief of Police report. Assistant Chief Hayes, please.
Thank you. Madam Chair, good afternoon.
Good
Certainly
afternoon.
to this honorable body and those that are in attendance, both in person and virtually for today's meeting. I'd like to share, on behalf of Chief Bedison, I would like to give an update on the work that's being done under the oversight of this body to ensure that public safety is provided constitutionally to all who work, live, and play and enjoy our city. Our criminal homicides continue to trend down in record numbers, 21%. Last year we had 149. This year to date we had 128 for 21 less. For our non-fatal shootings, last year 466. This year, 352, 114 less, or 24.5% decrease. Combining those two numbers of the 21 less homicides, the 114 less non-fatal shootings, we have 135 less victims of gun violence here in our city than this time last year. Our carjacking, last year, 85 had occurred. This year, 60, reflective of a 29.4 percent reduction, or 25 less victims of carjacking. And then lastly, our aggravated assaults, where we are down 5.7% this time last year, and that number is reflective of 410 less victims of assaultive behavior, whether it be individuals on the street with poor conflict resolution, whether it may be intimate partner violence. We are continuing to address this issue, not only through, if we are forced to take arrest action, but also being able to provide services and resources to those that are in need, so that they won't be in these situations. And as I conclude this, when we talk about additional resources, I would just like to remind the community that September is Suicide Awareness Month. We want the community to know that we are here for anyone who may have thoughts of self-harming. You can call 911, or here in the city of Detroit, 988, if you are feeling like you are in crisis. Honorable Board, that completes my report, and I will gladly field any questions this body may have.
Thank you, Assistant Chief. Are there any questions? Any questions?
Through the chair, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner.
But it's not pertaining to the chief's report. Chief, I want to say hello to you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for having that watchtower down in the Eastern Market. I'm still waiting to see my mounted unit down there for the Lions tailgate games and stuff like that. I remember last season, I think we were approaching colder weather. So I don't know. I'd like to see the mounted there at least one time.
Through the chair, we can commit that to our deployment strategy for the Lions game. Being very transparent, the officers of the police department wear many hats.
I know.
So typically the officers that would be riding the horses will bring out the towers and deploy the towers that are there. But we'll see if we can't get a couple on horses for this week's game, this Sunday's game, in that Eastern Market footprint, to patrol by horseback for those that want to enjoy it and tailgate safely for this Lions game.
Thank you. I was going out and by there the other week, and I saw the watchtower. I said, "Oh yes." I said, "Chief Hayes got the towers, got them up."
Mounted folks to do that, sir. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for the chief? Hearing none, thank you, Assistant Chief.
My pleasure.
We'll go back to oral communications and public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Ms. O'Neill, you're going to speak at the mic. Please state your name for the record, and then we'll go into Zoom.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Deborah O'Neill. I'm the mother of Keisha O'Neill. She was 16 years old, shot in the back of the head with a shotgun. I've had about 5 or 6 detectives. Within the first 2 months, I at least went through 3 detectives. One detective I had so long I had to pray him away. He treated me horrible, and his supervisor. What it took for me to get him off my case, well, wasn't nobody but God, because I had to step back a couple of years. He ended up stealing a watch out of evidence, and that's what got him locked up. He's in prison. And I get a new detective, Detective John L. White. He told me he got me this time. He helped me. I finally got it into the prosecutor's office after me calling so many years, and with my passion, I called down there and I cursed him so much and left vulgar messages. Where's that? Prosecutor Fadi finally returned my call. I got it in his office. I went down there with mothers of murdered children and my detective, John L. White. They gave him a packet, told him there's a checkoff list for him to do. Detective John L. White told me this list is redundant. One of the things on the checklist, it told him they wanted him to go and do a phone dump. Phone dumps were not available in 2010. I don't believe they came out to 13 or 14. They wanted him to go talk to my ex-husband. I said, well, haven't you done it? No need to do that. He did not check off. He did not do one thing on that list. I called him and left him a lot of messages also for a long time. Then I bagged up because his child was murdered. I understood what he was going through, and I gave him grace. He even would talk to me about what should I do with my wife. I told him just pray and just cuddle her. Anyway, I stepped back. Then after that, there was a big meeting up here. I came up here with mothers of murdered children. I sat here with Detective John L. White. He asked me not to say too much. Be cool, it's gonna work out. Right now, I'm going for a promotion in IA. I said, okay. I bagged up. I didn't say much.
Ma'am, your time is up.
I'm sorry.
Just quickly, if you could just.
I won't help. I keep calling the new cold case detective. He's answered. He said he don't have the file. The file is electronic. He would have to go over there, do it himself. I said, well, okay, I'll give you some time. I waited a month or two, called him back. Oh, we still don't have that file. I would have to go over there. I'm like, what are you waiting for to do?
I'm gonna ask Assistant Chief if he could respond, maybe? Okay, there's a question here before, Chief.
Before you do that, I did, for you should know, AC, I did just text the captain of homicide to come down. He said he's coming down. So that's for you to know, but you can go ahead. I'll just let you know that.
Through the chair, certainly, words can't bring your daughter back, but please know.
Can you speak into the mic? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Your tragedy, words alone cannot bring your daughter back, but on behalf of us here at the police department, certainly our heart goes out to you. To this body, typically I would have some of the support staff in the audience step out with the citizen with a complaint of this level, but I would ask if I may be able to step away from the table to address this myself, and my commitment is that I will have, within 1 week's time, at the next meeting, a comprehensive follow-up as to what we've done to this grieving mother that's come before you today.
Absolutely, that's great, thank you. The Assistant Chief will walk out with you, ma'am. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Madam Chair, we're going to go into Zoom. Our first speaker will be former Commissioner William Davis.
Good afternoon. Can I be heard?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'd like to first say that I'm pleased that y'all recognize Eric Ford. It's someone that I've been knowing for years because I used to go out with the Detroit 300 way back when.
I'm sorry. I'm having difficulty hearing. Just 1 second, Commissioner. Everybody here having that problem? Just 1 second, we're gonna try to get this.
That's on the individual. Can you turn your volume up that we can hear you better in the room, sir?
My volume is all the way up.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if you could just speak a little bit louder, we'll probably be able to make it out.
Okay, y'all ready for me to start?
Yes.
Please restart it.
Okay, I'd like to say I was pleased that y'all recognized Eric Ford with the Detroit 300. That's someone I've known for years, and I used to go out with the Detroit 300 years ago. I'm troubled by the fact that there's been reported that a woman was found naked in some waste in a vehicle, and there was no true investigation, and that the police officers did an information report and gave her a ticket for indecent exposure, even though she seemed to indicate to them that she didn't know what had happened and that she had been on a date downtown on the Riverwalk. So I hope the Detroit Police Department is not covering up, sexual misconduct, just to try to suppress their numbers. That would be very troubling. I think anytime somebody's suspected of date rape, it should be a report and it should be generated, and that person need to be offered consideration, not given a ticket for indecent exposure. I think perhaps a neutral third party needs to be looking what's going on and making sure that it's not a deliberate attempt to suppress Detroit's true crime numbers. Because, things may have improved, but are they truly improving if you have to fudge the numbers? Hopefully this is not so, and hopefully somebody will be able to investigate it and get back and let the public know that there's not a problem with date rape downtown on the Riverwalk, and there was parked right near the police station down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let the record reflect we're having difficulty hearing from Zoom. Let's see if the next one will be better.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
The next person is iPhone.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Good afternoon to all within the sound of my voice. I'm Betty A. Varner, and I just want to give kudos to the NPOs at the 10th Precinct. I attended their annual picnic this month, and I have health challenges and serious mobility problems. But I wanted to attend that picnic, and when I got there, the NPOs were so kind to me. They made me feel comfortable and special. They served me my food, and they just went the extra mile to make sure that I was comfortable. It was a very good meeting. The commander and the captain, they gave reports. There was guest speakers, and also that it was just a chance for residents to mingle, network, and it was a beautiful evening. So kudos to the NPOs, and I just wanted to say that publicly. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That was our last speaker, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next we have, is there any comment or question? Next we have our presentation to the board. It's an OCI presentation by Chief Investigator Jawarm Warfield. Please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and certainly to the public. We wanted to give you an update specifically, and I think the question that was raised earlier, I think is very timely. And so we wanted to give an update as relates to our processes and what we do and how we do it, specifically as relates to the types of investigations and the categories of investigation. My presentation is under tab number 5, I'm sorry, in your book, tab number 5. You'll find it there. And hopefully it comes up on the screen for those who are in the audience. But there are several types of investigative categories that we have. And they are our full investigation, our summary investigation, our administrative closures, and we'll talk in detail about those, our informal complaint resolutions, and our cases aged beyond 1 year. And so we want to go through each of these so that the public can understand the significant scrutiny that our investigators take as they investigate each of these cases. And we'll start with the investigations. Our investigators conduct a very thorough review of all available evidence concerning complaints, and we interview all sworn and non-sworn members of the Detroit Police Department that we may receive complaints about. We look at every piece of evidence that is under our jurisdiction to see. We are accused a lot of times of doing too much and going too deep on some things, but they do full investigations, and we also do preliminary investigations. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The next category, though, of investigation is a summary investigation. So I'll give you what that is and give you an example of it. In certain circumstances, and only with the approval of a supervising investigator, the requirements for certain interviews may be waived when the existing evidence itself, it lends itself to a definitive conclusion. And the justification and the approval must be documented within the body of the report itself. I'll give you an example. If someone says that I was picked up by the Detroit Police Department and they punched me in my nose, and we looked at the body worn camera and that evidence is not there at all, there's no reason for us to go ahead and interview the officer. We see it very clearly on body worn camera footage. And for that, we'll do a summary investigation, which again will include all of the evidence that we looked at and put that information into the report. The next investigation category we have is an administrative closure. And the administrative closure, there are several administrative closures that fall under this category. The first one I want to deal with are duplicates. Duplicates, from our standpoint, are investigations or complaints that come that we have either one already investigated or in the process of investigating. It's the exact same situation. It's the exact same allegation that we are already investigating at that time, and so we'll close the subsequent complaints that we get as duplicates while we're still investigating the main complaint. Transfers also fall under administrative closures. Those are items that, or investigations that we transfer over to internal affairs if they are involving anything criminal, or if they're involving other agencies. Like we get things sometimes from Wayne County Jail and we'll send it over to Wayne County, or we'll get something from transit and we'll send it over to the transit police. Those are transfers that we do. The other form of administrative closure is an officer or an employee who's no longer employed by the Detroit Police Department. We only can investigate those individuals who are currently employed with the Detroit Police Department. The fourth type of administrative closure is alleged conduct that does not violate policy. So for instance, if we get a complaint that says before the police, and we've had this complaint, I'm not making these up. If someone says, I was on my way to the DDC and I asked the officer to stop and get me some McDonald's before I went there because I was hungry, and he refused to stop and get me something, that we can close that as administrative closure because it does not violate DPD policy or law. And then finally, those complaints which come into our office but they lack sufficient detail as to the officers that involve, it lacks sufficient details as to the facts that are surrounding the evidence or the incident, and it lacks merit. And if the complainant itself is unavailable or unwilling or unable to contribute to the furtherance of the investigation, then the investigator will detail the basis of their determination, refer the matter to the supervising investigator for administrative closure of the file, who may refer the matter to the chief of police. So there's still, even in that instance, we try and pull as much information as we can together to see if we can possibly figure out what's going on. There are times when people will put in a complaint and they would say, well, I saw an officer speeding through a red light, but they are not able to tell us where it happened. They're not able to tell us the time of day. They're not able to tell us a code of the car, the code that was on the car. And they're unwilling to give us any additional information. And for things like that, we're able to administratively close. It's important to understand that with administrative closures, though, the title of the category is misleading, because administrative closures do require an investigation to determine if the complaint meets the criteria for administrative closure. So everything we do and that we hand in, there's an investigation done. And although full investigation report is not required under this category, a detailed summary and the preliminary investigation of findings are also written within our report so that we can back up what we're saying. The next form of investigative category is informal complaint resolution. And this is when the resolution of a citizen's complaint which allege only inadequate service or the complainant's innocent of charge. And I'll give you two examples of that, just quick examples. If someone says the police took 30 minutes to get to my house, that's not something that is against DPD policy. It's not something that we can do to fix or change. So we'll close that as an informal complaint resolution. Another example, as it relates to innocent of charge, we use this as it relates to traffic stops sometimes when people say that, I ran through, they gave me a ticket for running a red light and the light wasn't red, it was amber, it was yellow or amber, whatever the color is. And for that that ends up being a civil complaint because a ticket is issued at that point, and that's something that is taken care of through the judicial system. And so we close that as an informal complaint resolution. And then finally, there are cases that are aged beyond 1 year. And these complaints have aged in the OCI past a calendar year of the incident date, and they may be administratively closed due to the Detroit Police Officers Association's DPOA and the Lieutenants and Sergeants Association, LSA. They have a contractual agreement with the city of Detroit that limits disciplinary actions against DPD employees beyond 1 year of the alleged allegations. However, even in those cases, we do a detailed investigation in those cases, and when we see policy violations, we forward that information on to disciplinary so that training can be done. So I want to go over real quick, finally, the actions that our investigator takes.
Before you move up from that slide, I do have a question, or maybe you could clarify. The cases that are fully investigated, that are beyond 1 year, aged beyond 1 year, do you perform garrity on the officers in these cases?
That's a great question. We absolutely do not perform garrity on those officers. Again, because according to the contracts, no disciplinary measures will happen as a result because that case aged over a year.
Okay, thank you.
And so in each of our cases, whether it's an administrative closure, whether it's a full investigation, informal complaint resolution, we always contact the complainant to take their statement. We obtain and review electronically stored evidence and all other documents related to the allegation. Our investigators do watch body-worn camera footage. We watch car video footage and any other relevant electronic evidence that is presented to us so that we can get our hands on. And in some instances, we actually go out and we'll do canvass of the incident location itself where that incident took place. We also are able to get access to look at green light footage at some of the green light locations to investigate the claims that come into our office. We write, of course, and we also research relevant law and policy, not just DPD policy, but we look at the MCLs as well to see what applies in those cases. And then we write a detailed report summarizing their findings. And so I want to make sure that the public understands that our investigators do a thorough investigation in each and every complaint that comes into our office. It only reduces in volume based on the type of allegation it is and the type of evidence that is available for us to research. But we do our due diligence in all of it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Just have another quick question, Chief, or just 1 second. And that is, according to the website, we indicate that there's a report from September 18th, and this is different from the September, if you want to just
Sure.
clarify the discrepancy.
Absolutely, and thank you, Madam Chair. As you and I talked yesterday, I was in my office working late on Monday night, and as I was looking at the reports that were coming in from Wingswept, who is the manager of our case management system, I realized that there was a discrepancy in one of their formulas as relates to how they were calculating our case. And so I sent them an email that night, early on Tuesday morning. They got back with me. We met. They recognized that, yes, this is a discrepancy. And so they are working right now to put a fix in. They're going to give a report back to me this week or early next week. And certainly we want to present that information next week to you. But I got in contact you as quickly as I could to let you know what we had discovered as it relates to the error in Wingswept.
Okay, so thank you. We will get that 18th report at a later date, probably next week.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, you mentioned that
I guess you don't handle complaints regarding the Wayne County Jail. I just left a man in court in Wyandotte that is in a wheelchair, that apparently was at the Wayne County Jail, a high-profile person, who, if I mention his name, you'd know. And they denied him his medication for 4 days in the Wayne County Jail. And so it put it, and his nurse was there, and it put him in excruciating pain. And so you don't follow up on, I told him he could file a complaint with our office. So you're saying he cannot?
Through the chair, according to the Detroit City Charter, our jurisdiction is only with members of the Detroit Police Department and the employees, civilian employees with the Detroit Police Department.
So people, this is not the first person that told me they had a complaint, but this one was somebody I was like, whoa. And so you're saying they have no recourse with us, although our officers are taking care of and I thought that meant that that our policies apply.
So our officers transport individuals when necessary to the Detroit Detention Center, which is different from the Wayne County Jail.
I know that.
So Wayne.
He was at Detroit Detention Center. That's my point.
You say he was in Wayne County Jail, but they're two different places.
I'm sorry for saying that. That was incorrect. He was at I always call it the jail, even though it's not the jail. He was at our Detroit Detention Center, and I told him he could file a complaint. Him and his nurse were both there.
Through the chair, if he's at or was at the Detroit Detention Center, yeah, he certainly can file a complaint with our office, and we would check into that.
Okay.
Because I know that I believe there's a 72-hour limit with the Detroit Detention Center.
Well, yeah, but that's not the issue the issue is the fact that his medication was denied him. He's not the first person, as I said, who's told me that.
Yeah, if it was there, we can take care of that, ma'am.
You would absolutely immediately recognize.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Any other questions?
I thought I was right.
Okay. Thank you for that presentation. Now the report from the board secretary.
The report today will be found under tab 6, the correspondence that has been received, and please take note of those things are for your information in your binders today. The announcements for this week are as follows. The next board meeting is here at Detroit Public Safety Headquarters on next week, Thursday, October 2nd at 3 p.m. The community meeting for October Thursday, October 9th, 6:30 p.m., 8804 Woodward Avenue, which is in the 3rd Precinct at Considine Little Rock Recreation Center. The next committee meetings coming for this month will be next Tuesday, September 30th, 4 p.m. Budget Committee, 5 p.m. Policy Committee. And those are the announcements for today.
Thank you, Secretary. Is there any unfinished business?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
speak to reference to the board secretary. In the past, we have received updated personnel listing, and so far in the last couple of years, we haven't received a listing of all employees that work for the board, seniority date, and their assignment. We have hired quite a few people from a couple of years ago. Can we get an updated personnel list that the board should be privileged to?
Madam Secretary.
Yes.
Second is there a communication about individuals separating from board or OCI? Do we get a notice of that separation? Is that a formality that we have to take or acknowledge it?
Separation of individuals from OCI?
Or
from the board.
Of the board.
Resigning, retired, or whatever explanation they give. We get a detailed report from the DPD all the time, but I don't see anything coming from. I found out a person left us in July, And I called him up. I didn't know he had departed in July. Maybe I missed the memo.
Madam Secretary, is there a list or a report that is provided whenever we hire someone or someone leaves? And I guess that's what the commissioner's asking, if we could get that report.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I do not do a report as such. If the board would like for that to happen, but I would kindly remind this board that the Office of Chief Investigator reports to the board, and the Office of Boards, well, the BOPC administration reports to the board. So whatever the pleasure of the board is, my team and I over on this side of the house, if I may, will be more than happy to get that compiled, working together with HR at KMET. But no, I am not readily given information when someone separates from the Office of the Chief Investigator.
Okay, OCI, yes,
Through the chair, ma'am, we'll help with getting that report to her.
okay.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
Commissioner.
think that's incorrect. The board secretary is our chief officer of the board in OCI. The chief investigator report to the board secretary. All staff report, that was by the city charter. And by city charter, that is your duty and responsibility, and that is how outlined. But I think we need to revisit our, what you call organization chart. Somebody transposed it to be inaccurate, so we need to revisit that to get that correct, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Wood, yes, Commissioner Bell. Commissioner Woods?
Yes, through the chair, this has been vetted out, and we know clearly the OIG came forcefully on us about that. As Corporation Counsel know, and everyone know in this room, that it was a motion before the board secretary was selected that the organizational chart had to be changed based upon the OIG report, and we know what the OIG said very, very clearly. So we have made motions, those motions to adhere to what the law is, and we did that.
What does the charter say?
Madam, hold on one second. Commissioner Bernard?
I said, if the charter says, as it's always been the case, for the years that you've been on this board, over the last 20 years you've been back and forth, you know that the OCI has always reported to the board secretary. Always. When I was their lawyer, they reported to the board secretary. What's her name? The lady that was our remember, who was really smart? The woman who was in charge of OCI, she worked upstairs, and she was, and she reported to the board secretary, even when the board secretary was a man. What's his name? George. Board secretary. I mean, OCI always reported to the board secretary.
Thank you. I'm going to ask, not Commissioner, Corporation Counsel to weigh in.
Madam Chairperson, I will circulate, I think probably for the 5th or 6th time, the memo from the Corporation Counsel's office delineating the duties and responsibilities. I don't have it memorized. The chief investigator just pointed out, you've got the bylaws, you have a whole lot of things, you've got the OIG report. My office, before I've forgotten Adam's last name, left, we synthesized everything together. We gave a report back to the board. I'll recirculate that so that we can address this issue once again.
Yes. Go ahead, Commissioner Bell.
I think there's action to usurp our charter. The charter speaks clearly. I'm well familiar with the charter. Mr. Wallen is also. And the past chair and the board is well aware of what has transpired. Bylaws, you can shape it and form and make changes without consulting with the bylaw and with the charter. So we need to dive into that issue. Commissioner Bernard is correct. We have always had one board secretary that's responsible for the staff of the board in terms of since 1974. Maybe not 1974. As you serve, I serve, that's been the responsibility of the board secretary. It's not a separate entity.
Commissioner Woods?
We know how, we know what the OIG said is very, very clearly, and it's been very, very public. And we don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. The fact of the matter is that the OIG has spoken, and I defer to Justice Conrad Mallett over anyone else who has the legal expertise to advise us, and we're going to go by the law. And so Justice Conrad Mallett is our authority in terms of far as our legal authority to give us some guidance legally, and I stand by that.
Any other comments, questions? I would just say, since, you brought up, Commissioner Bell, that I have been on the board for 20 years, over 20 years, 3 times already. Yes, the first 2 times that I was on this board, the secretary was in charge of all of BOPC. However, when I came on this 3rd time, I saw an org chart that said both the secretary and the chief of OCI report to the board. So, and I was advised that this was because of the OIG report. So I would like direction and clarification from our corporate, or the attorney, our corporation counsel, so that we could move forward on this issue, because the way it stands right now, I'm going by the most recent org chart that I was given, and that recent org chart says the secretary and the OCI chief investigator report to the board. So unless I can get clarification from that, I have to go by the most recent. And the board approved it. So that's another thing I need to make note of.
What concern?
Sure.
Provide the old one and the new one that's been changed. I think that was.
It's changed all the time.
It was changed all the time. So
Organization charts are not definitive.
What I am following is that the board approved it. It was approved at a board meeting. So I would like direction from the Corporation Council on how to proceed. I think we all need that clarification. Commissioner?
Just quickly, I agree with you 100%. A legal opinion would be great. But the charter is the constitution of the city of Detroit. Nothing, I don't care what OIG, anybody else says, it cannot conflict with the charter. And if it is, then it's a matter that goes to the courts. You agree?
Okay.
I don't
Corporation Counsel?
disagree, Madam Chair, because
Corporation
it's always so interesting.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's always so interesting when people quote the document and they don't have it in front of them.
That's correct.
Okay, so let me just read it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. The secretary to the board. The board shall appoint a board secretary who serves at its pleasure. The secretary shall not have been an employee or elective or appointee officer of the city of Detroit within 3 years prior to appointment. The secretary shall attend board meetings. That's all it said. Wait, I'm going to read the next one, but I just want you to understand.
Thank you.
That is the yin and the yang of what the charter says about the secretary. Investigative staff. The board shall also appoint a chief investigator and such additional staff of investigators as it deems necessary. The chief investigator shall not have been an employee or elected or an appointed officer of the city within 3 years prior to the appointment. Investigative staff serve at the board's pleasure. They must possess skills and experience necessary to complete investigatory work. And that's all it says. Period. It doesn't say anything about who reports to whom. It doesn't. It doesn't. So as you are referring to the Constitution,
that's correct.
The Constitution is silent. It is silent. So when by the bylaws, the secretary, the office of the chief investigator reported up to the secretary. The OIG made a determination that had caused more confusion than it was worth. The board then made a decision to change it. Now the board could change it back. Nothing about the charter would prevent it from doing that, but that's not the case.
Thank you.
And so And so that, and that's all that the opinion from the law department said. Now, the separation, if that's what you all want to review and take that back up, it's the conclusion is not going to be dictated by the church.
Thank you. I appreciate you having it with you.
It's
Well,
in the book. Thank God for
I,
that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, then the next item is new business. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Bernard, I believe the policy
Yes.
committee has some new business.
Tremendous amount of work. By direction of the policy committee, I move that the following special orders with the expiration date of today, September 25th, 2025, be extended for 45 days until November 9th, 2025, and that in 30 days, an update on the review status of these named special orders be given. Those special orders are Policy Directive 202.2, Search and Seizure. Policy Directive 203.5, Juveniles and School Incidents. Policy Directive 204.3, Operating While Intoxicated. And Policy Directive 403.5, Drug and Controlled Substance Abuse. These are currently in review. They're scheduled to expire today. We're simply asking for the extension and that we can report back in 30 days.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So that the department will still have policies in place on these issues.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Wood, seconded by Commissioner Bernard. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Assistant
Thank you, everyone, for your attendance.
How are you, sir?